Morning, gardeners and homesteaders. I hope everybody's having a fantastic day. We are going to talk about what we plan to harvest in September. So the weather's getting a little weird. It's going to be hot, cold, rain, storms, who knows what's going to happen. But this is what we plan to get out of our garden and how we expect to, things to come about and be able to use them and stuff like that. So it gets to be a tricky part of the year, but we're going to go through it and see what we can get left. It's definitely an interesting time of year, and I personally like it because it's a transition period. So I'm getting tired of eating certain things, and this is a period in which we're getting new stuff. We get into the hottest part of the year, technically speaking. We are still going to be getting these. These are our black-eyed peas, and I just let them dry completely on the vine and then come out. So right now these guys are loaded. They've really started to come in. You can see up here, and we're just going to keep doing that, and we just stick those right in the bag and harvest them completely. So it's definitely a plus for us. I mean, anytime we can plant something that really thrives in the summer and the heat, that's what we really want to take advantage of. And we expect that because we get a later harvest this time of year. Now, another thing that, I got a bug flying in my face. Another thing that hopefully we're going to get to harvest, I've never grown this before, but hopefully we'll get a harvest because I've been waiting a very long time for it. Seminal pumpkin. So it is just taking off and engulfing this is one plant, this whole trellis. And we've started seeing blooms finally, and it's really starting to grow more. I actually need to stick this back up here. So we are starting to get more, and you can see we are starting to get little itty bitty seminal pumpkins on here. So we'll see how this goes. In the past month, through all the heat that we've had, this plant has really taken off and just started to just grow all over the place. So what we're gonna do is we're really gonna try and get us a harvest off here best we can. It's getting as much sun as it can. It loves the heat, so hopefully we're gonna get us a harvest off of it. If you guys have ever had a seminal pumpkin, I'd be curious to know what you think the flavor of them is like, so we know what to expect from them. But we're excited to see it, and like I said, the plant's just out of control. And so the other thing we're gonna hopefully continue to get are cucumbers. So you can see we are in, now that it's started to cool off a bit, it's really starting to load up with cucumbers again. So these plants, I thought they were gonna die off, and we shot them with some fertilizer, and they are just coming back. So hopefully we'll continue to get them. They actually look quite pitiful on this part of the vine, on the trellis. But as we come up and look, I mean, here you go. We're continuing to get cucumbers. So we'll pull that one. And then what we have is, you can see all of this new growth all over it. So once we fertilized it, like 2 days later, we started getting clumps of growth. And then it's just really taken back off and just gone over that trellis. So it goes up here and then all the way over there. This is why I should have never turned my back on the Boston pickle and cucumber. It's been a consistent performer for me. And this year, and I think it's because we didn't do the overhead watering, we haven't had a lot of disease. Sorry, I had to get another cucumber. So we hope to continue to get them. Now, we did hedge our bets because in my experience, they've usually died off this time of year. So we did plant more underneath it a few videos ago. I don't know if you remember that. Just in case, we do have some plants down here. And honestly, at this point, I'm not expecting them to amount to much. I would be shocked if those actually grew and got to a harvestable state, but I would be, it'd be my fault if I didn't try. So we're gonna see what we can do. And based on how big they get, I know maybe next year I can go a little bit earlier and get a whole second crop, especially with us thinking about expanding our garden. So there is that as well, if we even want a second crop, which is super important to think about. But another thing that we're planning on harvesting this month and we're banking on are our tomatoes. These indeterminate tomatoes in the front, they aren't doing the greatest. So I don't know what the situation with those are, but we're gonna let them go as long as we need to, harvest what we can, and then we'll cut them if we have to. And these Romas, they're continuing to grow. Once the heat passes, which it is just about done, at least the super high heat, it should go back to producing green tomatoes. And if we go over here, I mean, we can see that there are some green tomatoes on here. So, and there's a lot of buds too. So we know that we're going to be getting some more tomatoes. So we can kind of, I don't want to say count on it, but I will say count on it. I mean, you got to get something off of it, right? I mean, that's how it is. And so we have various tomato plants around. We've got a bunch in containers and stuff. And like this one over here is just kind of winding down. You know, the temperature and the disease and stuff has gotten it, not to mention the lack of rain. So we'll harvest what we can off of it and just do the best we can. It kind of is what it is, you know. We're not going to overly worry about it, but we're going to hope, right? And I have gotten to where I enjoy those little tomatoes because I've been drying them, and that's worked out really well. It's worked out for a lot of dishes and stuff like that. It looks like as the heat has started to pass some in our wild garden, which it definitely looks wild if you ask me, the peppers are starting to come back and do their thing. So we're going to continue to hopefully harvest those. Typically, we get more of a harvest of those in late September. So we'll continue to get what we can off of them and just go around. And our eggplants are actually coming back. So this bed was super compacted and still is. And we see that in the base of the production. But the only way to make it better is to keep planting it and keep working it. So we'll just get a little bit less of a harvest if we have to, but we do have eggplants coming in, as you can see, so hopefully we'll continue to get those. And we've got sweet peppers and hot peppers and small peppers and big peppers and all kinds of stuff. So we'll just continue to do that, and history repeats itself. Mid to late September, all the way into October, we'll start getting a lot more peppers. I mean, truth be told, it's basically a numbers game. You plant the most peppers because you're gonna get one more flush. And then when that flush is done, that's all you get. And so that's when this is the bed that we're gonna pull up eventually. And as these peppers flush out, each plant will cut them, and then we'll put spinach back in its place. So there is that. Now, one other thing that we're gonna get, hopefully we'll get another handful of lima beans. I did make the executive decision, which I'm allowed to do because it is my garden, to leave the lima beans that I did not like growing and just see how much we can get off of them. We've got a lot of buds, as you can see, all over it. So we should be getting some more, and we're just gonna let those go as long as we have to. And I'm thinking about putting lettuce in its place, so as long as we can keep it going, and then we'll pull them up. But I'd like to get another handful or two of lima beans. The big thing is I wanna see if they taste any different than store-bought, and I wanna see if my family enjoys them, because if they do enjoy them, I will not be purchasing another bush lima bean, but I in fact will be purchasing a trellising lima bean, a good old classic one. And I think what I'm gonna do is when I add another bed in here, I'm gonna also add another panel in for the tunnel. So it'll be 3 tunnels going all the way through. It's perfect for lima beans and stuff like that. As you can see, the beans just reach all the way over and go to the other side. So I may not even have to plant the other side, but that's kind of where we're thinking about taking this in the future. And just as far as the harvesting goes, like it seems to be producing now, so why stop it? The final thing is something that I wish I would be harvesting, and that would be my green beans. So we got attacked by Fusarium wilt this year. It looks like I have like 2 plants left over, and honestly, I didn't even harvest them. I just let them all go. Kind of whatever is whatever. We did plant some more underneath, so if they grow up, fine. Then maybe we'll get some more. But typically, in my garden, without disease issues, we would be getting green beans this time of year. So we would start harvesting them probably in around the 1st of August and go all the way up until the frost. And we'd be harvesting heavy. So what I might do is come out here one day, if I feel froggy, and pull all of the overgrown beans out, feed them to the chickens, and just let them, and when I say the beans, I mean the actual bean, like this. This is unedible because it's all lumpy and stuff, so the string's in it, you know, people choke on it and stuff like that. So we may come out and just harvest all of these now that I'm pretty sure these last 2 plants won't grow, and just see what we can get. Maybe we can get a couple jars off of them, who knows. So that is something that we would typically get, but we're not getting, and we wish we were. So there is that aspect. But as you can see, the season's starting to wind down, and we're going to kick off the fall season. But the harvest is definitely changing. You know, if we didn't do a second planting of tomatoes, that wouldn't even be on the menu. But it is on the menu because we did. The black-eyed peas, they come late, and hopefully the seminal pumpkins. So, you know, these are two crops that we would not be getting all summer at all. And now we have the option. So it should work out pretty well. I've got a pile of black-eyed peas to shell, and I'm just gonna wait until the end of the year and shell them all at once. It's just a lot easier to do that. So I'm really excited about it. This is one of the black-eyed peas are one of my favorite crops to grow. It loves the heat, so it's so easy this time of year. I mean, it's like 95 degrees. Hold my water cup, you know what I'm saying? Like, it ain't even worried about it. So we're gonna just enjoy it. And that's the important part, is enjoy the season, because it's almost over, and then we're going to be talking about fall soon, like harvesting fall soon, and I'm really excited about that. Hopefully our plans have kind of come out, so yeah, we'll see what happens.